Jets up to the 30, the 20, 10, 5. Torrey Horton back to the end zone.
48-yard play. Guess who? Body up the middle, making another move to the outside. 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it. Nice move by Brown. He's got space. He's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown. A record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to pin it in a row. It does. Romo stays up. The Suns offense 4-3 wins. Incredible effort for Romo.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live. College football is back, baby. We just had week 1, and we're here to bring you G5 college football coverage that you love each and every week. I am Luke Probasco, and I am joined by my co-host this way, Justice. Justice, how was your Labor Day weekend?
It's been pretty good. Watching that intro, like Ashton Genty, give him 6 has a totally new meaning this week, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, give him 6 touchdowns.
No, give him 6, like give him 6 times.
I was out with the family. I guess you would call it a glamping trip. Kid has been wanting to go camping. He wants to, go go camping out in a tent next. So we're going to do that for his birthday here soon. So I did not get to watch as much as I would like to week 1, but I got as much up to date that I could. I asked some questions, reached out to beat reporters about some injuries. So we're going to have that for you coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a home game for Old Dominion, but obviously I spent a lot of time watching the Old Dominion game. The rain delay, thunder delay, whatever it was, certainly didn't help like get me back to being able to watch other games. But ODU had a watch party that I went to, and it was pretty cool. I got to meet some players' families, and they had raffles. They had a full-sized helmet autographed by Ricky Ronnie. Unfortunately, I did not win that. The guy sitting next to me won it. Kind of a bummer, but
and then you just had to look at it the rest of the time,
right? Well, they didn't give it to him till the very end, so
okay.
that was like the last prize. But no, it was a good weekend, and had fun. And I feel like I spent like the last 2 days doing nothing but getting our templates ready for today's show and graphics, and so hopefully it won't take me as long next week to get everything done. But yeah, man, it's been good. It's been fun, and college football's back. Love it. It's going to be gone before we know it. Hi to Billy. What's going on, Billy? Glad you could join us again. Always one of our loyal listeners and supporters, and we greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. And if you're listening in podcast form, please rate and review. We're doing good on YouTube. We're crossed the 400 follower mark. Now we're on to 500, and to the moon, man, right to the moon. And good things coming. We did an interview last week. I did an interview last week with Dylan Goffney, wide receiver from Colorado State. That dropped this morning. You and I did another interview today with the player that'll release sometime towards the end of the week. Man, just lots of stuff going on.
Lots of things to be excited for. I guess let's get right into the G5 Hive Players of the Week for week 1. So we have on offense, I have selected none other than Ashton Genty, Boise State. Kind of seemed like a no duh, but I feel like if we don't put him in there, then people are going to be like, why didn't you put him in there? So he has 267 yards rushing, 6 rushing touchdowns in the 56-45 victory for Boise State.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the give him 6, man. He got 6 for 6. He was he started off his Heisman campaign in fine fashion, right? I mean, I don't know that the Boise State necessarily would say that from a they gave up a lot of points perspective. I don't think the defense necessarily played as well as Boise State would hoped, and definitely think they're going to have to kind of get that defense shored up if they want to make the college football playoff. But the Ashton JT for Heisman campaign is off to a strong start. All right, for my player of the week, wide receiver Nick Nash from San Jose State. He had 10 receptions, 170 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns, and he also threw for a touchdown. If folks don't remember, Nick Nash started his career as a quarterback for San Jose State. Matter of fact, he's the one that led them to victory. I believe it was against Arkansas, and is at Arkansas against the SEC team. So Nick Nash, old quarterback turned receiver. They had that trick play, and he threw a 20-yard perfect pass for a touchdown early in that game, and then obviously did his thing catching the ball. So shout out to Nick Nash. We're going to be talking a lot of Nick Nash tonight. This is the first one, but we're going to be talking a lot of Nick Nash tonight. Moving on to the defensive side, another guy we're going to be talking about a lot tonight. For the defensive players is defensive end Mike Green from Marshall. He had 9 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss, and he did all that without even playing in the fourth quarter. He played the first 3 quarters. The game was out of hand. They sat him in the fourth quarter. Just imagine what he could have did if he played all 4 quarters. But he led Marshall, the Thundering Herd, there to a 45-3 victory. Mike Green, if you're a listener or supporter of ours, someone you should be familiar with. When we talked to the Thundercast pod, they just raved about Mike Green. Both KD and Russ did, and you know that they nailed that one. They hit a home run there because Mike Green really showed out week 1.
And then I selected linebacker Jackson Woodard, UNLV, 11 tackles, 3 sacks, which now is tied for he's got a 3-way tie for the nation in sacks, 4 tackles for losses, 1 pass defended in a 27-7 G5 over P4 victory for UNLV. So figure, you have the first G5 over P4 win. You got to take somebody from that defense.
And he had a heck of a game, man. I saw where he was thanking some of his teammates, particularly the linebacker that started next to him, and you have to forgive me, the name escapes me, but he was saying, "Hey, man, like that dude really stepped up, and that allowed me to instead of having to stick my run responsibilities, allowed him to kind of rush the quarterback more, and it paid dividends there for UNLV week 1 in that victory." All right.
Yeah, go ahead with our what the swarm needs to know. What are our news and notes from week 1?
So, the first piece of news is not necessarily a G5 specific piece of news, but it's something we talked about last week, and that's the QR codes that Oklahoma State had planned to put on their helmets, right? Where folks watching the TV could scan that code and they could donate directly to the Oklahoma State Collective. Well, the good old NCAA said, not so fast, my friends, and they have banned Oklahoma State from putting those QR codes on those helmets. I don't know, it's kind of disappointing, right? Like they thought of something kind of clever, and the NCAA says, yeah, I don't think so. Because ultimately, I guess the NCAA is not making money off of it, and so they were like, "Yeah, you can't do that." The kind of taken after the no fun league or the NFL, if you will. We've talked about this a couple times, but it keeps coming up. It's kind of being reported now that wide receiver Stephen McBride from Hawaii will not play in 2024. He had some eligibility issues, and it seems like they're not going to be able to get those resolved. A couple of quarterback news that we got towards the end of last week. Darian Mensah was the starter QB1 for Tulane. They said they were going to play all three. Clearly, Darian Mensah is the guy there at Tulane. And then I don't know, like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the start, we got word that Hunter Watson had won that job there at Sam Houston. He started week 1, and we're going to be talking about a lot about Hunter Watson tonight as well. There for Sam Houston. He's Luke's favorite.
Yeah, and I can't stress this enough about Hunter Watson, Darian Mensah. If you follow us at all, if you're in some chats with us, we've kind of alluded to some of this stuff a while ago. The Hunter Watson one is just kind of a hunch by me. No really information about that. I even think I wrote an article about it. I thought he would take over by the Hawaii game. So this is the stuff that you're going to get when you follow the G5 Hive. And if you're any group chats with us, stuff that we're not going to say a whole bunch, but we can allude to some stuff. And Darian Mensah was something that, kind of we pegged, I don't know, maybe 5-7 days out from the beginning of the season. It's something that caught our eye and dug a little deeper. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be tons of guys like that we talk about tonight that were mentioned in our Worker Bee series. And so, yeah, it definitely pays to subscribe and get notifications. Turn your notifications on for when we release a new content. And then the final piece of quarterback news: Stone Earl was quarterback 1 for Marshall. They played all 3 quarterbacks: Stone Earl, Braylon Braxton, and Cole Pennington. Earl started the game, got the majority of the snaps. Then Braxton came in, and then I think Cole Pennington had like one drive only. I think. Yep. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out moving forward. But it looks like for right now, maybe Stone Earl will be the quarterback there for the Thundering Herd. Head coach Tim Albin, Ohio, said today that he wasn't ready to officially name a starting running back for week 2 between Anthony Tyus and Ricky Hunt Jr. If you didn't catch the Ohio game, they both played. Anthony Tyus Jr. just went nuts. And we were big on Ricky Hunt Jr. We thought he had that big bowl game. So we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, I think regardless how it shakes out today, it looks like Tyus is going to be the RB1. I didn't watch any of that game. I did talk to someone who did, and they said, and their impression of Tyus wasn't favorable. They said he just tried to bounce everything outside, and it worked. But obviously, bouncing outside is kind of feast or famine, right? You bounce outside all the time and don't run inside. The defense will catch on to that. But regardless, Coach Tim Albin did say that both running backs are expected to split time this season. So I know a lot of folks are jumping on that Anthony Tyus train, and I don't know. I'm one of those that takes a more cautious approach regarding that particular situation.
And I mean, we also had a source that had mentioned they kind of just rode the hot hand in this one, kind of cut through that defense like butter. And, that's just why Hunt didn't get a lot of the touches there in week 1, is just because, hey, he was doing well. Why take him out? So it looks like, like you mentioned, there's going to be this split time. It's going to be ride the hot hand. So those of you who play fantasy football, it's best ball type, you're going to play a guy and then he might not get all the touches because he wasn't the hot hand that week. So just kind of a FYI.
All right, and the bulk of our news this week is injuries. And so some of this stuff has happened towards the end of last week, and then we had some in-game injuries from week 1. Running back Marion Luke, Central Michigan, he did miss the week 1 game. No word yet on when he's expected back. Wide receiver Kenny Womack from Western Michigan also missed the week 1 game. He has a broken hand, and he's likely to miss a few weeks. So Kenny Womack out for the foreseeable future. Last week it was announced tight end Jackson Warren, another one of Luke's favorites from Colorado State, suffered a shoulder injury in fall camp, and he'll miss the entire 2024 season. That's a big blow for the the Colorado State Rams there. Wide receiver DeClorian Clark, UTSA, missed week 1. He's still recovering from a knee injury that also caused him to miss the 2023 season. I just think he just can't. He missed the whole entire 2023 season. He's still not ready to play, and so I don't know. That just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't bode well for DeClorian Clark when he does return. Wide receiver Shaz Preston, Tulane, a big time transfer from Alabama. He missed the week 1 game with a hamstring injury, so hopefully he won't be out too much longer. Quarterback Burt Emanuel Jr., Central Michigan, also did not play week 1, and the way Joey Labas looked in that game for Central Michigan, Burt Emanuel Jr. Probably doesn't have a job anymore. Maybe they have some packages for him, goal line kind of wildcat type stuff, but I would be kind of shocked if Burt Emanuel Jr. does win that job back. It looks like a hamstring injury possibly there for Burt Emanuel Jr. Landon Ransom, wide receiver from Rice, was expected to kind of be one of their primary targets for Rice. He also did not play week 1 due to injury, and he may miss a few weeks here, according to the folks there at Rice. So we might have to wait to see Landon Ransom. And then another Landon Sides, North Texas. He missed this week. It sounded like he got banged up a little bit in fall camp. Haven't heard too much about his injury or when he returns, but I don't think it's anything too serious. And I think when he returns, he's going to factor into that North Texas, passing game. He was a standout last year, and he should be a standout in the slot once again for the Mean Green once he does get back. Defensive end Dewan Black, Temple, one of the stars on that defensive line, missed week 1, and it was also announced today that he will be out again week 2 versus Navy. Running back Gavin Garcia at Kent State suffered a knee injury in fall camp and will miss the entire 2024 season. So that leaves kind of Kai Thomas to kind of man that backfield there for the Golden Flashes. Running back Ron Wiggins, Jacksonville State, is expected to miss around 10 games after having surgery to repair a toe ligament injury that he suffered recently. Jacksonville State has Anwar Lewis, Andrew Paul, Justice Savage. No shortage of running backs there for Jacksonville State, so I'm sure they'll take their time with Ron Wiggins and make sure he's fully healthy when he comes back. Running back Keenan Christon, San Diego State, is expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks after having ankle surgery last week. I don't think once Marquez Cooper kind of transferred to San Diego State, I don't think anyone expected anyone other than Marquez Cooper to kind of carry the load, and he certainly did that for the Aztecs there in week 1. Big blow to Utah State. Running back Robert Briggs suffered a broken leg in their week 1 game, and he is out for the season. He had tested the transfer portal waters, came back. He was one of the top 2 backs there for the Aggies, so he's going to be missed there at Utah State. And running back Sutton Smith, Memphis, was expected to be the kind of 1A, 1B there with Mario Anderson. Suffered an injury early in the game. Folks are saying it doesn't look good, but there's nothing official yet. Probably should get official word sometime, probably tomorrow. So stay tuned if you're looking for official word on Sutton Smith.
Tomorrow would be Tuesday. If you're listening to us in podcast form, probably at some point Tuesday we'll hear some more.
Yeah, Tuesday the 3rd should be some more news. Sorry about that on Sutton Smith. And this next one, man, this one hurt big time because they didn't play till late. The news didn't come out till right before the game, and so it was a kind of a crushing blow for me personally. But tight end John Michael Gillenborg missed week 1 with a lower body injury, and he's 50-50 for week 2. If you watch that game, Wyoming did not look good. Hopefully they can get things turned around here in week 2. But that may be, once again, without John Michael Gillenborg. We certainly expect a big season for him. So let's just hope he gets healthy and he's ready to go once he does get back. Wide receiver Chase Sewell, East Carolina, sat out week 1. I have not been able to find anything on what that injury was or what his timeline is. In his absence, kind of Anthony Smith had a big day, but I would expect once Chase Sewell's back, he kind of would assume that wide receiver 1 role there. Fullback Dylan Carson from Air Force. A lot of folks that this was a big shock, right? Because the guy that led Air Force in rushing wasn't even listed on the official roster. But the starter there, Dylan Carson, he got injured on the first drive. We are getting some updated info. You got anything new, Luke, there on Dylan Carson?
Yeah, so he had 7 attempts there in that first drive, got hurt. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm not going to expect to have Dylan Carson, at least for next week for sure. We'll see about, what they have going forward, but could be an extended period for Dylan Carson, but we'll see what kind of information comes out of Air Force.
Quarterback Ben Finley, Akron, got injured on the first drive with a rib injury. So I don't know if it's a broken rib, just sore ribs, but that can be a bothersome thing. And so Ben Finley went out, Taj Bullock came in. I would be surprised if Finley goes here in week 2. They might let him rest those ribs so that he doesn't injure him more. And then the final piece of news. Quarterback Jack Turner from Louisiana Tech got injured. No word on the injury. He was seen in the medical tent. He stayed on the sidelines with his helmet in his hand. Didn't go back on the field. He didn't necessarily light the world on fire before he left anyway. So Jack Turner, we'll see what. Hopefully, we'll get word from Louisiana Tech what the injury was and see what his status is here for week 2.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Come back and join us next week as we discuss what happened in week 2, as well as look forward to week 3 of the 2024 season. And as always, bring you up to date on the latest news and the happenings in the world of G5 college football. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on X, please give us a retweet, like, follow, and if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Thank you all for your support, and until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.